Out of 1 to 3 women are abused and or raped or have been in a family violence situation.
For far too long, domestic violence has lived in the shadows.
Our mission at the Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Center is to protect victims, prevent violence, and empower survivors.
And so if you sit down with your family around holidays or go to a dinner, if you look around and there's 4 people, at least one of those people have been affected that can be a friend, family, or loved one in your life and you not even know it.
Domestic violence represents 43% of the calls that Murfreesboro Police Department responds to. As the county grows 5 to 6%, we also grow 5 to 6% in services.
Survivors face not just physical harm, but a web of psychological, emotional, and financial abuse that often leaves them feeling trapped and unheard.
We serve about 3,500 individuals each year, and those are just the individuals that come forward to report to us or to seek our services.
I felt like my life was threatened every day. I was a prisoner in my own home. I was a prisoner in my mind. I was afraid for me and my children, because when people have addictions and things like that, and then they're abusive and they act out, you never know what they're capable of.
Especially if kids are involved, all right? Because a mother's instinct, and I'm primarily talking about female victims here, but we do know it goes both ways. And if they in their head convince themselves, well, how am I going to feed them without his help?
And we know statistically it takes someone 7 times to leave an abusive relationship. We also know that cycle of violence goes around quicker and quicker and becomes more violent.
I would say a lot of people, and even now, I would say that most people stay because of fear. The fear of leaving. Like, if I leave, he's gonna kill me.
I think the most important thing for people to understand about domestic violence is it can happen to anyone.
For me, it's always important to show someone their worth and their self-respect, and also to empower them to take back their power and control that was taken away from them during those domestic violence situations.
A lot of people don't know that there are resources out there that are free that they can just call or just go to, and they can get help with housing or rental assistance or mortgage assistance, having food and food banks, helping with clothing. There are also resources that help with childcare.
At the Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Center, we have 4 core services with our organization.
Behind every story of pain, there's also a story of survival, of resilience, and of hope.
One is our court advocacy department. So we help survivors file petitions for an order of protection. We have an attorney that represents every single client that files an order of protection. And there's an advocate that's in court as well, championing their voice so that we can make sure that their voice is being heard. And that may be the first time that their voice has ever been heard.
I would tell anyone who's currently experiencing domestic violence to get out ASAP, because it only gets worse. It do not get better.
We also have our emergency safe shelter, which is a 31-bed facility that houses both men, women, and children who are fleeing or experiencing domestic violence. We also have a 3-dog kennel and a 5-cat kennel at our emergency safe shelter as well.
I feel like when people hear about domestic violence or abuse or assault, it's very taboo and let's not talk, and that's weird, and that's, it's talking about sex, but it happens every day.
And we have counseling services for past and current survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking. And we also have an on-site forensic examination room for survivors that have experienced a sexual assault. Instead of reporting to the ER or to the hospital, we have advocates that are present during that exam.
A lot of people think domestic assault is the only way to be victimized, and it's not. There's the psychological abuse, there's the financial exploitation, there's the sexual abuse. There are a number of ways to abuse someone in that capacity.
We also have our crisis lines as well for domestic and sexual violence. So we're accessible 24/7 because we all know that crises don't happen between 8 to 5. And we also have programs where we can assist with rental assistance, find them housing, help with transportation.
Their instinct typically is, gotta take care of my kids. I have to take care of my kids.
Every service that we provide are at no cost. We want to walk alongside someone through that journey and also remind them of the strength and the power that they possess, that they have forgotten.
Our goal is to break the stigma, educate the public, and inspire action.
So some things that we can do as a community is really outreach and advocacy. That is really bringing and destigmatizing what domestic violence, what abuse, what sexual assault looks like.
I think awareness is one of the most important components in helping with domestic violence. And not just awareness that domestic violence includes bruises and bleeding and broken bones, but there's all different types of domestic violence on the domestic violence cycle or wheel that we call. And people need to know about the different kinds. They also need to understand that we all need out.
Be that person you needed or that you would need if you've never been in that situation. Be that person for them.
We need more resources for domestic violence shelters, okay? We'd love for them to volunteer their time at a domestic violence center, all right? But basically, it just get the word out about domestic violence. And it shouldn't be such a taboo subject.
Making sure that there is funding out there to help us help the community. And I know that sometimes money can be one thing that can be a little controversial, but sometimes that's what we really need is to be able to help, because if we can have the money, we can create more centers such as this for men and women to feel safe.
Obviously, one of our biggest challenges as an organization is always going to be that financial funding, that financial support. You know, all of the services that we provide are at no cost.
Every dollar you contribute brings us closer to giving survivors a voice and changing lives.
Because every dollar that we're raising is going right back into a survivor's life, whether that's rental assistance, medication, transportation, all of those things.
Join us on this journey by donating now.
I've been more at peace than I ever was in my entire life, finally saying no to behavior that I never should have experienced or ever tolerated.